शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वञ्जनानन्दनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशमक्षहन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम्। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Namaskaram all of you, and welcome to the 60th session of Narayaneeyam. You may recollect in the last session we enjoyed Bhattatiri's description of Sri Krishņāvatāram and Sri Vasudeva carrying the little baby Krishna to Gokulam at the direction of Bhagavan himself. We also saw how many saints, sages and admirers of Lord Krishna explained the river Yamuna getting the exalted status by a gentle kick from the lotus petal foot of Sri Krishna, the little boy, from his wicker basket as though he was playing with water. Bhattatiri started the Dasakam 39 with a hint on that event before proceeding to Yoga Maya. Bhavantamayamudvagan yadugulodvagonisharanne Bhavantamayamudvagan yadugulodvagonisharanne Dadarshagadana uchala jalavaram Kalindatmajayam Dadarshagadana uchala jalavaram Kalindatmajam Aho salila sanchayaha Sapunaha indrajalodito Jalauga iva dakshana Prabhadameyad ayayo Jalauga iva dakshana Prabhadameyadam ayayo Prabhadameyadam ayayo. Bhavantamayam udvahan yedukulodvaho nissaran Dadarsha gagana uchchalat jalabharam kalindatmajam Aho salila sanchayaha sapuna aindrajalodito Jalauka iva takshanat prabhadameyatam ayayo. Thereafter, that great Scion of the Yadava clan, Vasudeva, set out for Gokulam carrying you. On the way, he had to cross the river Yamuna, Kalindi, daughter of the Kalinda mountain. Even at normal times, that river would be very deep, making it impossible for anyone to cross it on foot. With the water swirling sky high in a high spate of water, especially with the torrential rains, crossing that river was extremely difficult, if not almost impossible. It was when Yamuna was in that swollen and agitated state that Vasudeva reached its bank carrying its gentle load in a wicker basket. Alas, what could the helpless Vasudeva do, and that too in the middle of that dark night? It was not feasible to reach the other bank by means of a boat or any such device either. In the troubled state, what a great miracle happened. That huge deluge of floods got reduced as though by magic to a level which reached only up to his ankles. Is there any wonder than this? This is the exclamation from Bhattatiri. Prasupta Pashupalikam prasupta pasupalika nivrita marudat bhalika apavrita kavadika pasupavadikam avishanne prasupta pasupalika nivrita marudat bhalika apavrita kavadika pasupavadikam avishanne bhavantamayam prasavatalpake tatpadate bhavantamayam arpayan prasavatalpake tatpadatpagam kapadakanyakam swapuramagato vegataha swapuramagato vegataha kapadakanyakam swapuramagato vegataha. Prasupta Pashupalikam Nibrita Marudat Balikam Apavrita Kavatikam Pashupavatikam Avishan Bhavantamayam Arpayan Prasavatalpake Tatpadat Vahan Kapatakanyakam Swapuramagato Vegataha. Vasudeva crossed the Yamuna and reached Gokulam. Not much time had elapsed since Yashoda had given birth to Yoga Maya already. Owing to that, Mother Yashoda and the other women folk of the Yadava household were all in a deep slumber. This was also preordained by Bhagavan. Yashoda, utterly exhausted, did not even know whether she gave birth to a male or a female child. The doors were all wide open. All of this happened solely due to the power of Yoga Maya, namely the goddess of Maya. As I said, it was all prearranged. Clearly, to enable Vasudeva to locate the confinement chamber, that girl child was crying gently as though to beckon Vasudeva. Nibritam Arudatu. Why did she cry and why so gently? If she had cried aloud, everyone would have awakened by then. Instead, Maya cried softly only to guide Vasudeva to the right chamber so that he doesn't get lost in the process of finding in the darkness. In that situation, Vasudeva entered the house, placed you beside Yashoda, quietly picked up that Maya, deceptive girl child, came out and speedily returned to his own abode, namely the impenetrable prison in Mathura city. If he had been tardy, someone or another would have woken up in that prison and noticed him, thereby exposing his actions. That was the thought that prompted Vasudeva to return so hastily back to Mathura and did not even waste a minute there, placing the child and replacing the child. On learning about Devaki's delivery, Kamsa came out and saw the girl child. Tatatvadanujaravakshapita tatatvanujaravakshapita nidravegadravate Badodkara nivedita prasavavartaya eva artiman tatatvadanujaravakshapita nidravegadravate Badodkara nivedita prasavavartaya eva artiman vimukta chikurotkaraha tvaridamapatan bojarate atutta iva drittavan bhaginika kare kanyaka vimukta chikurotkaraha tvaridamapatan bojarate atutta iva drittavan bhaginika kare kanyakam kanyakam tataha tvadanujaravakshapita nidravega dravat batotkara nivedita prasava vartaya eva artiman vimukta chikurotkaraha tvaritam apatan bojarat atushta iva drishtavan bhaginika kare kanyakam. As soon as Vasudeva placed the female child, Maya, in the form of a girl on Devaki's bed, all the doors of the prison shut themselves just as they were before. On hearing the girl's cry, deliberately prompted once again by Maya, the gods woke up with a start. They rushed to Kamsa and informed him of Devaki's delivery of a child. Even as he heard the news, he realized that his killer had been born, as stated by the Ashariri, that he became very disturbed and sad. He quickly jumped out of his bed and, without even pausing to tie up his disheveled hair, came rushing to Devaki's confinement chamber. But what he saw in Devaki's hands was a female child. It appears Kamsa had been thinking that it would certainly have been a male child, but the Asariri had said the eighth son of Devaki would kill you. On the contrary, this was a female child. How could this be? There seemed no reason for this to have happened. Ashariris never turn out to be false. Could any deception have taken place? Such and similar thoughts greatly agitated Kamsa's mind. Dhruvam kapatashalino madhuharasya maya bhavet asaviti kishorikam bhaginikagara alingita vipo nadina kantarat vipo nadina kantarativa mridnalikam akshipame ayam tvadanujamajam upalapattake pittavayan ayam tvadanujamajam upalapattake pittavayan. Dhruvam kapatashalino madhuharasya maya bhavet asaviti kishorikam bhaginikakara alingitam Dupo nalina kantarat iva mrinalikam akshipan ayam tvadanujam ajam upalapattake pishtavan. The Vishnu is a great juggler. Since the commencement of the world, Vishnu had slain asuras like Madhu, Kaitava by deceit only. Only by assuming fraudulent forms of Hayagriva, Varaha, Narasimha and the like, this Vishnu had slain asuras. Likewise, he must have assumed the form of this tender girl in order to kill me. This is only Vishnu's Maya or deceit. Of that there is no doubt. Now this child cannot be allowed to escape. Whether it is a girl child or a boy child, it doesn't matter. On the ground that it is a female child, how could I go? How could I let it go? There would be no difficulty for the child to become a male child because again Vishnu has his own Maya. Being so certain of all this confusion, Kamsa asked Devaki for the child. Thereupon Devaki thought, it will be a great pity to kill this innocent girl who has been brought here by playing a self-serving fraud on Yashoda in order to save our own son. This was the thought that was running in the mind of Devaki. So thereby, Devaki started pleading openly to Kamsa, dear brother, you have already killed all my 6 sons. Spare at least this one child, which is a girl baby. Do believe the Ashariri. No harm will befall you from this powerless girl. Why do you want to kill this child as well? Bhagavo himsita brataha shishavaha pavakopamaha Tvaya daiva nisishtena putrika eka pradiyata. Devaki pleaded to the heartless Kamsa, my dear brother, by the influence of destiny, you have already killed so many babies, each of them as bright and beautiful as fire. But kindly spare at least this baby. Give her to me as your gift. I am asking you for one last time. A question may arise, why did Devaki say that whatever her brother had done earlier was not his fault, but rather ordained by destiny, and only this time she should be pleading? The answer is fairly simple. After all, Devaki was the daughter of a great Kshatriya and was well versed in the 4 upayas, political stratagems used to achieve success or a goal. Powerless as she was in that moment, she chose the only 3 available options. First being the repression, dhamma, then compromise, sama, and finally asking for a gift, dana. Devaki first adopted the policy of repression by directly confronting Kamsa for having cruelly and atrociously killed her babies. Then she compromised by suggesting that this was not truly his fault, and ultimately she goes to beg for a gift. Devaki knew very well that because the killing of her many children had been ordained by destiny already, Kamsa was not entirely to be blamed in the process. Thus, there was no need to offer him moral instructions at that point, since water has already flown under the bridge. Upadesho hi murkanam prakopayana shantaye payappanam bhujanganam kevalam vishavardhanam. In Panchatantra, in the very first chapter, the 420th sloka, attributed to Vishnu Sarman, also known as Chanakya Pandita, who lived somewhere 1200 years before Common Era. This sloka says, if a foolish person, namely Murka, is given good instructions, he only becomes angrier than ever. And of course, a snake and a Murka are both cruel, but the Murka is more dangerous because although a snake can be charmed by vibrational techniques, mantras are subdued by herbs, a cruel person cannot be subdued by any of these means. Cruel is a cruel fellow. Such was the nature of Kamsa. Therefore, Devaki held the child tightly with her hands pressed to her bosom and started crying. This was the final upaya she had, just to plead. Giving no consideration to what Devaki said, Kamsa forcibly snatched the tender baby from Devaki's hands, even as a wild elephant would get into a lotus pond and pull out forcibly a tender lotus stalk, and attempted to hit the child against a rock with such tremendous force so as to crush it with a single blow. O Lord, how could Kamsa succeed in killing this child? Goddess Maya, after all, like you, who have no beginning, middle or end, this great avatara, your sister, is Sakshat Parashakti, and she is birthless and deathless. Hence, Kamsa's attempt to kill her is nothing but a joke. Even as the wild elephant does not profit by forcibly pulling out and destroying a lotus stag, Kamsa would also not gain anything by killing this child. His action to kill her is devoid of wisdom. This is clear by the simile, Dvipo iva, used by Bhattatiri in the slokam, Dvipo nanina kantarate, iva mrunalika makshipan, ayam tvadanujam ajam upala pattake pishtavan. Tadabhavadupasako jatiti mrityupasadiva, Tadabhavadupasako jatiti mrityupasadiva, Pramucyatarasaiva samadhirudarupantara, Pramucyatarasaiva samadhirudarupantara, Adhastalam ajagmushi vikasatattabagugu, Adhastalam ajagmushi vikasatattabagugu, Spuramagayudamagogagat kila vigayasa vidyute. Tatat bhavat upasako jatiti mrityupasativa pramuchya tarasaiva sa samadhiruda rupantara adhastalam ajagmushi vikasat ashtabahuhu spuran mahayudamaho gata kila vihayasa didyute. O Bhagavane, your devotees will never get caught in the clutches of death. Even if they happen to be taken by Yama, the god of death, perchance, they by chanting your name speedily escape from Yama's hold and attain a higher state or position. The story of Ajamila is an excellent example. Did not Yama declare after the Ajamila experience that none of his men would ever venture into your realm, O Vishnu. This female child, in reality, your sister, is a similar case for study. In a similar manner, instantly, the Yogamaya released herself and escaped from the firm grip of Kamsa, which was veritably like the tight noose of Yama. Rather than go down and touch the ground, the little child, Yogamaya, grew big, rose upwards, and assumed her own original form. Her 8 divine hands, sparkling with shining weapons, namely bow, arrow, sword, trident, shield, conch, discus, and mace, all of them were shining. She shone as she traversed the sky. Wonder of wonders, the glorious achievements of Yogamaya, who initially removed the 7th fetus from Devaki's womb, made all fall in deep slumber at the time of your incarnation. Facilitated in all sorts of ways, Vasudeva was taking you off to Gokulam, manifested herself as Devaki's daughter in her confinement chamber, and finally, when caught by Kamsa's hands, assumed her own form, causing extreme fear and agitation in Kamsa. All these are indeed beyond description. Drisham Satarakam Sate, Drisham Satarakam Sate, Kivumaya Vinishpittaya, Babuva Bhavadam Takaha, Vajana Chintyatam Te Hitam, Babuva Bhavadam Takaha, Vajana Chintyatam Te Hitam, Ididvadanuja Vibho, Kalamudiryatam Jagmushi, Marudganapanayita, Bhuvicha Mandirani Yeyushicha, Marudganapanayita, Bhuvicha Mandirani Yeyushicha. Drisam Satara Kamsate Kimumaya Vinisprishtaya, Babuva Bhavadantakaha, Kvachana Chintyatam Te Hitam. Iti Tvadanuja Vibho Kalam Udhiryatam Jagmushi Marudgana Padayita Bhuvicha Mandirani Eyushicha. Yogamaya says, O Kamsa, you are the extremely cruel demon who has no shame, killing even innocent children who are no match to you. By crushing and killing someone like me, what have you gained so far, or what do you think you will be gaining? Did you attempt to kill me because the 8th child of Devaki was to be your enemy? And by killing me, you will then be protected forever? If you are in such a Maya or illusion, take heed of what I am saying. The person who is to be your destroyer is already born and is now living somewhere else. At least from now on, think of salvaging your soul because there is only one opportunity for you. He is now born and ready to kill you any time. Wait for your day. Iti prabhashyatam devi maya bhagavati bhuvi bahunam aniketeshu bahunam babuvaha. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. After speaking to Kamsa in this way, Goddess Durga, Yogamaya, appeared in different places such as Varanasi and became celebrated by different names, such as Annapurna, Durga, Kali, Bhadra, and 100 more. The goddess Durga is celebrated in Kolkata as Kali, in Mumbai as Mumbai Devi, in Varanasi as Annapurna, in Kataka, now called Katak in modern Orissa as Chandi or Bhadrakali, and in Ahmedabad as Bhadra. Thus, in different places, Durga is known by different names. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. Pramayan Sarvabhutani Yantra Rudani Mayaya. This is what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. O Arjuna, the Supreme Lord is situated in everybody's heart and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as if on a machine made of the material energy. According to the living entity's desire, Yoga Maya or Maya, the goddess Durga gives him a particular type of body, which is mentioned as yantra or a machine. But the living entities who are promoted to the spiritual world do not return to the prison house of a material body again. This much is sure. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tyaktva deham punajjanma na iti mameti so Arjuna. Again, this is Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter. The words Janma na iti indicate that these living entities remain in their original spiritual bodies to enjoy the company of the Supreme Brahman in the spiritual abodes, Vaikuntha and Vrindavana. In other words, these bodies or these entities remain in their original form of Atman. In the Brahma Samhita, which we have seen several times, it is stated that Bhagavan has many forms and incarnations. Advaitam achyutam anadim anantarupam Advaitam achyutam anadim anantarupam Atyam purana purusham navayovanam cha Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam atma bhaktao Govindamadi purusham tamagao bhajami Advaitam achyutam anadim anantarupam Adyam purana purusham navayovanam cha Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam atma bhaktao Govindam Adi Purusham Govindam Adi Purusham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamagam Bhajani Tamagam Bhajani Adi Purusham Tamagam Bhajani Govindam Adi Purusham Tamagam Bhajani Advaitam achyutam anadim anantarupam ahadyam purana purusham nava yabbanam cha Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam atma bhaktau Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. The poem describes him as non-dual, infallible, without a beginning, and existing in infinite, diverse forms, yet remaining in original, primal source of everything. Even though Govinda is the oldest, most ancient person in existence, he miraculously manifests as eternally youthful. Finally, the verse highlights a beautiful spiritual paradox. While the Supreme Brahman is incredibly difficult to truly understand or reach through dry intellectual study of the scriptures, he is effortlessly accessible and easily attained through pure loving devotion of the soul. Vedeshu durlabam adurlabam atma bhaktau Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Although there are many transcendental forms of Bhagavan, they are still one and the same Supreme Brahman. One has to understand this fact with conviction, although it is incomprehensible to mundane scholars and empiric philosophers. As stated in the Vedas, namely Purusha Bodhini Upanishad, Eko Devo Nitya Leela Anurukto Bhaktavyapi Bhakta Hridyantaratma Tasyangaja Paramananda Rupa Radharamani Parama Shakti Ratra. One supreme divinity is eternally attached to divine pastimes, namely Leela. That supreme entity pervades all his devotees and resides as the innermost soul within the hearts of his own devotees. Out of his own form manifests his supreme spiritual potency, the beautiful Radha, who is the embodiment of ultimate bliss and his eternal consort. The one Supreme Paramatma is eternally engaged in many spiritual forms in relationships with his unalloyed devotees. Vedahamedam Purusham Mahantam Aditya Varnam Tamasapparastad Tameva Veditvad Idi Mrityumeti Nanyapanta Vidyate Yanaya. This is Purusha Suktam, third Anuvakam. I have realized a supreme being who is magnificent and radiant like the sun, completely beyond all darkness and ignorance. Only by knowing him, one does transcend death. There is no other path to ultimate liberation, says Svetasvatara Upanishad. And that is what has been repeated in the Purusha Sukta, or you can call vice versa. O omnipresent Krishna, addressing the cruel Kamsa in the above words, your sister Yoga Maya disappeared from Kamsa's presence, being extolled by Devas, Gandharvas, Siddhas, Charanas, and all others. Let us now listen to Sri Narayana Tirtha's narration of how the celestials sang the praise of the victorious Durga as she emerged up in the sky.
Jaya Jaya Durge Jita Vairi Varge 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 Viyataniladi Vichitra Sage Jaya Jaya Durge Jita Vairi Varge Viyataniladi Vichitra Sage Jaya Jaya Durge Jita Vairi Varge Viyataniladi Vichitra Sage Jaya Jaya Durge Jita Vairi Varge Durge Sundaratara Charanaravilde Sundaratara Charanaravilde Sundaratara Charanaravilde Sukha Paripalita Loka Vrinde Sukha Paripalita Loka Vrinde Nanda Sananda Nadi Yogi Valde Nanda Sananda Nadi Yogi Valde Nanda Sananda Nadi Yogi Valde Narayana Sodari Paramanande Narayana Sodari Paramanande Paramanande Jaya Jaya Durge Jita Vairi Varge Viyataniladi Vichitra Sage Jaya Jaya Durge Jita Vairi Varge Anudayalaya Sachidananda Ladige Anudayalaya Sachidananda Ladige Alola Mani Maya Tadaga Ganike Alola Mani Maya Tadaga Ganike Naranadi Rupadi Karya Sadhanike Naranadi Rupadi Karya Sadhanike Naranadi Rupadi Karya Sadhanike Narayana Tirtha Bhavita Balake Narayana Tirtha Bhavita Balake Narayana Tirtha Bhavita Balake Jaya Jaya Durge Jita Vairi Varge Viyataniladi Vichitra Sage Jaya 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 Durge
I remembered the request from many of the devotees that when it comes to Narayana Tirtha's Tarangams, they've always requested me that I should also give Tamil meaning. So I preferred, in view of time, to to give Tamil meaning now so that the slide can show the English meaning when you are listening to me concurrently. Jaya Jaya Durge Jita Vairi Varge Viyadhaniladi Vichitra Sarge. எதிரிகளின் கூட்டங்களை முற்றிலுமாக அழிப்பவளே, ஸ்ரீ துர்கா தேவியே, உனக்கு வெற்றி உண்டாகட்டும். ஆகாயம், வாயு உள்ளிட்ட பஞ்சபூதங்களையும் இந்த விசித்திரமான பிரபஞ்சத்தை படைத்தவள் அல்லவா நீ, உனக்கு மங்களமும் வெற்றியும் உண்டாகட்டும். சுந்தரதர சரணாரவிந்தே சுக பரிபாலித லோக விருந்தே நந்த சுனந்தனாதி யோகி வந்தியே நாராயண சோதரி பரமானந்தே. உன்னுடைய தாமரை திருவடிகள் பார்ப்பதற்கு மிகவும் அழகானவை. இந்த அகண்ட உலகத்தில் உள்ள அனைத்து உயிர்களையும் காத்து அவர்கள் அனைவருக்கும் பேரின்பத்தை வழங்குபவள் நீ. நந்தன், சுனந்தன் மற்றும் சனகாதி முனிவர்களும் யோகிகளும் உன்னை தொடர்ந்து வணங்குகிறார்கள். ஸ்ரீமன் நாராயணன் சகோதரியே, நீயே பரமானந்தத்தின், அதாவது பேரின்பத்தின் வடிவமாக திகழ்கிறாய். யுவர் பிளிஸ் இன்கார்னேட். சரச மணி நூபுர சம்ஸ்ருத பாதே சமதிகத அகில சாம்ப வேதே நர கிண்ணர வரசுர பந்து கீதே நந்தசுதே நிகிலானந்த சரிதே. நவரத்னங்கள் பதிக்கப்பட்ட உன்னுடைய கால் சிலம்புகள் சாமவேதத்தின் கீதங்களோடு இணைந்து மெல்லிசையாக ஒலிக்கின்றன. நீ வேதங்களின் சாரமாகவும் ஞானத்தின் வடிவமாகவும் இருக்கிறாய். மனிதர்கள், கிண்ணறர்கள், தேவர்கள் என அனைவரும் உன்னுடைய புகழை ஓயாது பாடுகிறார்கள். நந்தகோபனின் மகளாக, யசோதையின் மகளாக அவதரித்தவளே, தாயே, உன்னுடைய தெய்வீக வரலாறு அனைவருக்கும் எல்லையற்ற மகிழ்ச்சியை தரக்கூடியது. கனக பட்டாவிருத கனதர ஜகனே கல்யாண தாயினி கமனீய வதனே ஜன கோட்டி சதிருச திவ்யாபரணே இஷ்ட ஜனாபீஷ்ட தான நிபுணே. தங்கப்பட்டாடையால் அலங்கரிக்கப்பட்ட அழகான திருமேனியுடைய ஓ துர்கே, நன்மைகளையும் மங்களங்களையும் தருபவளே, உன்னுடைய முகம் மிகவும் வசீகரமானது. நீ அணிந்திருக்கும் தெய்வீக ஆபரணங்களோ கோடி சூரியர்களைப் போல பிரகாசிக்கின்றன. உன்னை நம்பி வழிபடும் பக்தர்களின் நியாயமான ஆசைகளை திறம்பட நிறைவேற்றி வைப்பதில் நீ வல்லவள் அல்லவா ஓ துர்கே. அனுதயாலய சச்சிதானந்த லதிகே ஆலோல மணிமய தாடங்க தனிகே நர நாரி ரூபாதி காரிய சாதிகே நாராயண தீர்த்த பாவித பலகே. ஓ துர்கே, நீ எல்லையற்ற கருணையின் இருப்பிடம். சச்சிதானந்தம், உண்மை, அறிவு, பேரின்பம் எனும் கொடியின் வடிவானவள். அசைந்தாடும் ரத்தினங்கள் பதிக்கப்பட்ட உன்னுடைய கம்மல்கள், தாடங்கம் உனக்கு மேலும் மேலும் அழகூட்டுகின்றன. ஆண், பெண் மற்றும் உலகில் உள்ள அனைத்து வடிவங்களாகவும் இருந்து பிரபஞ்சத்தின் காரியங்களை நடத்துபவள் அல்லவா நீயே. நாராயண தீர்த்தரின் உள்ளத்தில் எப்போதும் தியானிக்கப்படும் தேவியே, மகாதேவி, துர்கே, எனக்கு நற்கதியை, முக்தியை அருள்வாயாக என்று வேண்டுகிறார் நாராயண தீர்த்தர். Let us now see how Yoga Maya is described in the words of Krishna Bhagavan himself. Namadeyani kurvanti sthanani janara bhuvi Durga iti Bhadrakali iti Vijaya Vaishnavi iti cha Kumuda Chandika Krishna Madhavi Kanyaka iti cha Madhavi Kanyaka iti cha Maya Narayani Shani Saradeti Ambiketi cha Saradeti Ambiketi cha Maya Narayani Maya Narayani Ishani Saradeti Ambiketi cha Namadheyani kurvanti Sthanani cha nara bhuvi Durga iti Bhadrakali iti Vijaya Vaishnavi iti cha Kumuda Chandika Krishna Madhavi Kanyaka iti cha Maya Narayani Ishani Saradhedi Ambika iti cha. Bhagavan Krishna blessed Maya Devi by saying, in different places on the surface of the earth, people will be calling you by different names, such as Durga, Bhadrakali, Vijaya, Vaishnavi, Kumuda, Chandika, Krishna, Madhavi, Kanyaka, Maya, Narayani, Ishani, Sarada, and Ambika. That is how Sukha describes to Parikshit. Because Vishnu or Krishna and his Shakti or energy appeared simultaneously, people have generally formed two groups, the Shaktas and the Vaishnavas. And often there is unnecessary bickering and rivalry between them. In general, it is averred that those who are interested in material enjoyment are considered to be Shaktas, and those interested in spiritual salvation and attaining the spiritual kingdom are Vaishnavas. Although such grouping and assertions are completely counterproductive to unite Sanatana Dharmis. There are Shaktas and there are Vaishnavites, and there is no separate division saying those who pursue material enjoyment are Shaktas and those who are only in spiritual salvation pursuit are Vaishnavas. This is totally wrong, but that has been a pattern which has evolved over a period of time. Because people in Kali are generally interested in material enjoyment, they are interested in worshipping Maya Devi, also called Yoga Maya, the energy of the Supreme Brahman, Bhagavan, in the form of Chandi. Vaishnavas, nevertheless, are believed to be Shuddha Shaktas because Krishna Mahamantra indicates worship of the Supreme Lord's energy, Hara. A Vaishnava prays to the energy of the Lord for the opportunity to serve the Lord along with his spiritual energy. Thus, Vaishnavas generally worship deities such as Radha Krishna, Sita Rama, Lakshmi Narayana, and Rukmani Dwarakadisha, whereas Durga Shaktas worship the material energy under different names as a singular deity, which I have explained a little bit before, especially as Sukha was explaining to Parikshit in Srimad Bhagavatam. The names by which Maya Devi is known in different places have been listed by Vallabhacharya, who lived between 1479 and 1531 Common Era. He was the one who founded Pushti Margam of Vaishnavism. In Varanasi, she is known as Durga. In Avanti, she is known as Bhadrakali. In Orissa, she is known as Vijaya. And in Kolhapura, which is Kolhapur today, she is known as Vaishnavi or Mahalakshmi. That's why when you go to Bombay, they call it Kolhapuri and Mahalakshmi. The representatives of Mahalakshmi and Ambika are present in Bombay today. In the country known as Kamarupa, she is known as Chandika. Kamarupa, as you know, is Assam. In northern India as Sharada, and in Cape Comorin as Kanyaka or Kanyakumari. Thus she is pervasive and named differently according to various regions and places. Shri Vijayadwaja Tirthapada, in his Padaratnavali Tika, has explained the meanings of the different representations. Tirthapada lived during 15th century Common Era. Shri Vijayadwaja Tirthapada, also known as Jayadwaja Tirtha or Jayadharma Muni, was the sixth saint in the lineage of Pejawar Mutt in Udupi. Maya is known as Durga because she is approached with great difficulty, as Bhadra because she is auspicious, and as Kali because she is a deep blue as her brother. Kali is blue. That's why it has, over a period of time, it has become, instead of Kali, it became Kali. Because she is the most powerful energy, she is known as Vijaya. Because she is one of the different energies of Vishnu, she is known as Vaishnavi. And because she enjoys in this material world and gives facilities for material enjoyment to her bhaktas, she is also known as Kumuda. Because she is very severe to her enemies, the Asuras, she is known as Chandika Mahakali. And because she gives all sorts of material boons, she is called Krishna. In this way, the material energy is differently named and situated in different places on the surface of the globe in creation. Let us get back to our story. When Kamsa heard Durga, Yoga Maya, say that she was the daughter of Devaki, Kamsa shuddered and wondered. Tayabhihitam akarne Kamsaha parama vismitaha. Devakim Vasudevam cha vimuchya prashrito abravit. After hearing the words of goddess Durga, Kamsa was struck with wonder. Thus he approached his sister Devaki and brother-in-law Vasudeva, released them immediately from their shackles, and very humbly spoke as follows. Aho Bhagini, Aho Bhama, Maya Vam Bhata Papmana, Purushada Yuvapatyam Bhagavo Himsitaha Sutaha. Alas, oh my sister, alas, my brother-in-law, I am indeed so sinful that exactly like a man-eater, like a cannibal Rakshasa who eats his own child, I have killed so many sons born of you. I don't know how to say I am sorry. Kamsa makes profuse apologies and releases both Devaki and Vasudeva from the Karagriham. But let us not assume that he has been transformed and he has become a transformed soul yet. Kamsa's further attempts to destroy his just born enemy elsewhere are described by Bhattatiri this way. Prage punaragatmaja, prage punaragatmaja, prage punaragatmaja vachanam irita, bhuja pralamba bakaputana, pramugadanava maninaga, bhuja pralamba bakaputana, pramugadanava maninaga, bhavan nidanakam nyaya, jagadi bhabramu nirbayaga, umaraka vimaraka, kiriva dushkaram nishkrupai, umaraka vimaraka, kiriva dushkaram nishkrupai, nishkrupai. Prage punaha agatmaja vachanam irita, bhubuja pralamba bakaputanaha, pramukadanava maninaha, bhavan nidana kamyaya, jagati bhabramuhu nirbayaha, kumaraka vimarakaha, kimiva dushkaram nishkrutpaihi. Next day, at dawn, Kamsa summoned his trusted bunch of asuras like Pralamba, Baka, Putana, and so many others and informed them of what Yoga Maya had called from up above in the sky. Haughty by nature, all these asuras, followers of Kamsa, they started acting as soon as they heard Kamsa's orders to go and find every child that is born and kill. With intent to kill you, Bhagavane, they roamed the earth fearlessly, killing all infants indiscriminately, whoever they came across. As they did not know the whereabouts or identity of Kamsa's would-be tormentor, they decided to kill any and all the newborn infant boys in the world. They thought that by such action, you would not escape their hands and would positively get eliminated. The attempt to kill all infant boys on earth just for the sake of eliminating one was indeed heartless and deserved all condemnation. What are they incapable of? The merciless ones that even today we come across right in this nation. They would not hesitate to do anything. Killing is just ordinary thing for them. If the word Kumaraka is paraphrased as a separate word, it could mean, oh Bhagavane, you who are just an infant boy and those cruel asuras are all the mean and contemptible creatures. The attempt of Pralamba and the like to kill you would not only be fruitless, but their end also would be at your hands. In one way, it is respectful because they will be getting their salvation. Then follows the description of the happenings in Gokulam. Tatappa shubha mandire tvai mukundananda priya prasuti chayane chaye rudadi kinchidanjatpade tatappa shubha mandire त्वयि मुकुन्दनन्द प्रिय प्रसूति शयने शये रुदति किञ्चिदञ्जत्पदे विभुत्य वनिता जनैः तनय सम्भवे घोषिते सति मुरा किमु वदाम्यहो सकलमाकुलं गोकुलं विभुत्य वनिता जनैः तनय सम्भवे घोषिते सति मुदा किमु वदाम्यहो सकलमाकुलं गोकुलं सकलमाकुलं गोकुलं आकुलं गोकुलं ततः प्रशुभ मंदिरे त्वयि मुकुंद नंद प्रिया प्रसूति शयने शये रुदति किंचित अंचत पदे विबुद्ध्य वनिता जनैः तनय संभवे घोषिते सति मुदा किमु वदाम्यहो सकलमाकुलं गोकुलं. Though there are many devas such as Shambhu and Swayambhu, you alone possess the ultimate power and authority to grant salvation to your devotees, for you are the Supreme Being Himself. O Lord of such exclusive and divine attributes, after Vasudeva carried and safely delivered you to Gokulam, returning with Yoga Maya, you as a little child lay upon Yashoda's confinement bed and gently moving your charming lotus baby feet started to cry. That was also another Maya of yours. Hearing your cries, the women of the Yadava household awoke from their slumber. Upon beholding you, they were filled with immense joy and eagerly spread the nectar-like news of the birth of a son to Nanda and Yashoda all around Gokulam. Wonder of wonders, how can I ever describe the state of Gokulam at that sublime moment? This is how Narayana Bhattatiri says. To put it briefly, the entire realm of Gokulam became utterly overwhelmed with ecstasy. From the youngest child to the eldest of the elders, every single resident of Gokulam was blissfully immersed in a boundless ocean of happiness. The next sloka describes Yashoda's great fortune. Aho kalu Yashodaya navakalaya chetogaro bhavantamalamaldige pradhamamabhivandya drisham. Aho kalu Yashodaya navakalaya chetogaro bhavantamalamaldige pradhamamabhivandya drisham. Punastana bharo nijo sapadipayayantyamudha मनोगर तनुस्पृशा जगति पुण्यवन्तो जिता मुदा पाययन्त्या मुदा मनोगर तनुस्पृशा मनोगर तनुस्पृशा जगति पुण्यवन्तो जिता जगति पुण्यवन्तो जिता. अहो खलु यशोदया नवकलाय चेतोहरम भवन्तमलम अंतिके प्रथमम आपिवन्ध्या दृशा पुनस्तनभरम निजम सपदि पाययन्त्यामुदा मनोहर तनुस्पृशा जगति पुण्यवन्तो जिताः. Bhagavane, how much pains do people take just to have a glance of you? One has to be exceptionally lucky to have even a glimpse of your charming form. For even great yogis have to undertake highly strenuous procedures over many number of births to acquire knowledge of the self needed to visualize you in their minds. By performing good deeds and observing good practices such as yajna, sacrifice, dana, charity, without expectation of rewards, they first acquire purity of mind. Then they somehow gain self-knowledge. After practicing rigorous spiritual disciplines like yama, niyama, etc., and keeping on meditating on you with single-minded and concentrated devotion. When such is their case, Yashoda is extremely fortunate indeed. Without meditation and other difficult practices that the yogis have to go through to have a mere glance at you, she saw you, not just momentarily, but in full glory, endowed with an extremely charming form like a fresh kalaya flower, lying beside her in her own bed. She drank with her eyes to her heart's content your captivating form. She was overwhelmed with joy. At that very time, she made you suckle her breast, which had commenced secreting milk because she is a young mother, the instinctive sign of the sacred motherhood she obtained thanks to you. She also caressed your beautiful body and was filled with happiness which cannot be described. In the matter of seeing you at close quarters and being able to caress you, let alone becoming your mother, Yashoda is indeed much more blessed than the most meritorious of holy souls of this cosmos. The doings of Nandagopa and others at Gokulam are described in the last slokam of the Dasakam. Bhavat kushala kamyaya sakalu Nandagopatada Pramoda barasankulo Dujakulaya kimna adadat Bhavat kushala kamyaya sakalu Nandagopatada Pramoda barasankulo Dujakulaya kimna adatat Tataiva Pashupalaka Kiguna Mangalam Tenire Jagatritaya Mangala Twamiga Pahima Mamayat Jagatritaya Mangala Twamiga Pahima Mamayat Tritaya Mangala Jagatritaya Mangala Twamiga Pahima Mamayat. Bhavat kushala kamyaya sakalu nanda gopattada pramodavara sankulo drijakulaya kimna adata tataiva pashupalakaha kimina mangalam tenire jagat tritaya mangala tvamiga pahimam amayat. At that time, Nandagopa, overwhelmed with joy at your manifestation and being desirous of your welfare, what all gifts did he not offer to Brahmanas, young and old? Desirous of your prosperity, he performed rituals such as Jatakarma, the birth ceremony consisting of a ritual included in the 16 samskaras meant for the purification of the soul on its new transmigratory path. Nandi Shraddha, rites in honor of the Pitrus, Mains, Manusha turned deities, etc., and gifted to Brahmanas 2 lakhs of newly carved and richly adorned cows, as well as 7 mountain-like piles of precious stones and gold. This is the description even in Bhagavatam also. Likewise, the other Gopas, cowherds too, performed many auspicious ceremonies which are necessary for such rituals. They offered you many special articles of tribute. They decorated cows with turmeric, kumkumam, that is vermilion, flowers, garlands, special ornaments, etc. They sang devotional hymns in praise of you, invoking your divine blessings for you. With accomplishments of instruments like beri and mridangam, due to excessive joy, they threw at each other colored water mixed with turmeric, curds, milk and ghee, which are plenty in Gokulam. It was in this manner that they celebrated your arrival, immersed as they were in immense happiness. He Jagat Tritaya Mangala. This is how Bhattatiri addresses him. There was in fact no need for anyone else to perform any auspicious rites for you, who are yourself the embodiment of all that is auspicious and the bestower of auspicious things on the entire universe. O Lord of Guruvayur, may you liberate me from this disease which is constantly bothering me and confer benediction on me. This is how Bhattatiri ends this Dasakam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Narayanaya. Om Guruvayurappa. Narayana 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 Hare Krishna